Welcome to Airplane Arms Navigating Back to School. I'm Lisa Miller with the Anchorage School District, and today we're going to talk about ASD Chromebooks and how to get your hands on one if you need one. I'm joined by Hassan Harrington. Hassan is our IT Director of Technical Services. Hassan, welcome to Airplane Arms.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wanted to kind of, we're a few weeks in now to e-learning, and we want to make sure all of our students are well prepared for the synchronous and the asynchronous aspect of distance learning. And a lot of that starts with having the proper tools. So can you just kind of walk us through what is the process like for families who would like to request a Chromebook from ASD?
The process really starts at the school level. Parents and families can contact the school front office to request a Chromebook. There's a very short application process in which they answer a series of questions to get themselves in line for an additional device.
Okay, and that's done over the phone with your school, with your child's school?
It's preferred to be done over the phone.
Okay, and if you have more than one student, do you need to reach out to each school?
It is preferred, if you have multiple students in the district, it'd be best if the parents and families contact the schools in which the student is enrolled.
Okay, but it's all over the phone. You don't need to necessarily go online to fill out the form. That's the staff who's filling it out.
That is correct.
Okay, perfect. And then what's the turnaround like once they make that call to request the Chromebook?
The turnaround process from a device request standpoint is right around 3 to 4 days right now. It depends on volume, but we're having a pretty good turnaround right now.
Yeah, that's pretty fast. I mean, that's quicker than ordering something online, right? And then the delivery method is pretty cool. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the delivery method is very cool. ASD Stuber is the method of delivery.
What does Stuber stand for?
Student Uber is kind of how we think of it. IT, along with Transportation Department, are working together to pretty much check out devices in advance, and then we work with Transportation where they route those devices to be delivered via bus to the students and their families.
That's really cool. We actually ordered one for my son, and the school bus came up, and he's starting kindergarten, so
awesome.
He ran to the window and was super excited. It was like the ice cream truck times 1,000. And who qualifies for a device?
The qualification is really just based off of need. I think, now that people have kind of experienced the pandemic situation, they know now a little bit more what they need. Maybe before families thought that one device might work for a couple of students, but now when you're going back into it and you're looking at the schedules, you may have classes at the same time. So if you have multiple students, it's best to have a device per student, so that way they can be engaged and take part in the educational process.
Yeah, but especially now that the elementary age students are also doing, the school, it's all for real, it's online and graded, and
yep.
Yeah. So really, any student who needs the tool can call their school and request the Chromebook. And
yep, any student that has a need should go through the application process to request a Chromebook.
Now, we distributed devices in the springtime, back when COVID first started, and spring break happened, and schools were not back in person. So these devices are going out. Those devices stayed with students, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Devices that went out in the spring, we were really just trying to make sure anyone that articulated that they had a need had a device to meet those needs. We kept them in the hands of students, really just to ensure that they had a device, they had a tool that was ready and capable to deliver the content.
So the requests for new devices are coming more from families who are new to the district, or like you mentioned, families that are realizing, wait a second, we do really need another Chromebook.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of new to district students in the request process, as well as existing families that, like you said, had multiple students and realized that they needed more than just one.
Yeah, and now that school has started, and like you said, everyone sees their schedules, you might come to a situation where sharing a device isn't as easy as it was.
Yeah, and the time frames in which they need to be in class, it really makes it a lot easier to just have a device per student.
And then, so now, let's say you've received the Chromebook. What do you do once you get that? What's the first step to getting set up?
Once a student receives a Chromebook,
Yeah.
Really the first thing to do is get the Chromebook connected to the wireless internet at their home. It's really simple. In the lower right-hand corner, you click on
Okay.
what looks like a little baseball diamond, and you can get
Okay.
connected to the wireless internet.
I like that, a baseball diamond. And then they log in. Can you tell us what they use to log in?
Typically, the format is last name, period, first name. Last name dot first name is how we like to say it.
So their ASD login is what they...
Is their ASD login, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, depending upon your name, if it's a common name, there may be like a number enumerated to the end of that username, and so the
Right.
best process in that instance is to reach out to your teacher. They can help you get that information.
Okay, so if you're not sure what your login is, find that out and then log into the device. And then once you log in, you're kind of set to go, right? Because it's the ASD device. So can you tell us a little bit about what they'll see once they log in?
Sure. The way we pretty much group access based off of what grade students are in. So they only see what's appropriate for them to see. They only see resources that are allocated to their particular grade groups. And so, for an elementary kid, for example, they would log in and see pretty much anything that their teacher has assigned them upon login to the device.
So super user friendly. Once
Super
they log in,
user-friendly.
you can just see everything that they need to work on right there.
Yep.
Awesome. And then what are some tips for proper storage and use of a Chromebook? We want to make sure that these devices work for us for the school year ahead. So can you give us kind of some tips for best practices for owning or for using the ASD Chromebook?
For sure. I think the best tip for success is making sure the device is charged every night.
Okay.
Also not just clamshelling the laptop, that doesn't necessarily power it off, and so holding the power button for about 10 seconds allows the device to fully power down.
Yep, I'm guilty of that one. So power off, don't just clamshell it. What else?
One thing to also keep in mind is Chromebooks are devices that update by themselves.
Okay.
Periodically, you'll get a little alert in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, and sometimes it'll just say, please press to restart to apply updates. And if you see that, go. If you're not in the middle of your classwork, feel free to hit that restart to apply updates to keep the device up to date.
So that's what they should look for to know it's like a correct update from ASD?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. And then, so since updates come automatically, would there be a time that they would need to maybe call for IT support?
In some instances, honestly, whenever you're updating devices, there are situations where it doesn't apply smoothly. But Chromebooks are very resilient, and so we haven't had many issues at all. But if you do run into issues, feel free to call our help desk at 742-HELP.
Okay, so if you have issues, it's 742-HELP, and that's for a multitude of ways that families can seek help from the district, but specifically IT support, they can turn there as well.
Yes.
Anything else that you wanted to add?
I just wanted to reiterate that, if there is a need in the home for an additional device, feel free to request one. We don't have any issues with providing devices at this point. I think we have a substantial amount to meet the need.
Okay, so if students need a device, don't hesitate, reach out to the schools. Reach out to your school to request the device. Start with the school first, and then if you're having trouble working with the school, then you can go to the help desk additionally.
That is correct. 742-HELP is always there to help.
Awesome. Well, Hassan, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Airplane Arms Navigating Back to School. Thanks for joining.